Now I'm going to walk in again. Pretend you don't know me. You sell me a cup of milk? Yeah, please, sure. I'll have a cup of milk. According to the kashrut laws, they were not, the way the system works, they're not allowed to sell them together. She said, what? People don't want to feed me in this country. His first time in Israel. He didn't know much about, so you can see not all conversions are on the same level. Somebody converted and he doesn't even know about the milk and meat, but it could be he knew, he didn't practice, whatever. There's a lot of, I'm not judging him, I'm just saying, that is a rabbinic institution that you must separate them by time, or but biblical, on the biblical level, it's to eat them together. Anyways, back to our glossary of terms. There are mitzvot aseh, mitzvot lo taseh, do's and don'ts. What period is our always question, right? Date them to the historical period. So which period do we have such mitzvot from?
1 to 8.
Close, but no cigar, really. Just like I said, the mitzvot midirabanan are from 1 through 4. We don't really have new mitzvot midirabanan after the period of the sages. We don't have the authority. We don't have the centralized authority, right? Once the Gemara was closed, the later rabbis in the next 1,500 years, we can't make up new enactments. We sort of can apply them to new situations, but and so if the do's and the don'ts apply to the biblical and the rabbinic, its categories of rabbinic and biblical mitzvot, it's probably also 1 to 4, really. There are customs which are do's and don'ts, so maybe you're right. Maybe we should extend it, because do's and don'ts, there's plenty of customs which are not categorized as a rabbinic law, but they are, something we do. So maybe you're right, Yosef. I'm going to go back to your opinion. Say 1 through 8, okay? For aseh and lo taseh, there is do's and don'ts throughout Judaism, throughout all the periods of Judaism. There's things we do and things we don't do. Right? Never buy high and sell low. That's not. You could say that's a Jewish rule on Wall Street, but no. Okay, number 15, a gezerah.
Judgment.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's the precise translation for our context.
Thanks.
Yes, also, but if you look on this page of major features and terminology, number 5 at the end of the line. Everybody have this? Does anybody need one? Got lots of them. You want one of these? Pass these around, whoever needs one. At the end of number 5, it has the word gezerah. It has it in the plural, of course, so it's just to confuse you. Anybody else need one? Everybody has? So you see, it says gezerot. Gezerot are enactments and prohibitions. Enactments are probably usually positive rabbinic mitzvot, and prohibitions are negative rabbinic prohibitions. Gezerah is a rabbinic prohibition. Rabbinic prohibition would be the correct translation. And from when do we have that? Here now, Yosef, what do you think? What's the period for that? That's number 4, primarily. You could say 1 through 4, because maybe Moshe, and the prophets, they had all sorts of prohibitions also, like they did with the rabbinic, fences around the Torah and all sorts of. So anything up to 4 is a gezerah. And many times I've said to you before, after Talmudic times, we don't make new gezerot. We don't make new rabbinic prohibitions. So even though they might make sense, there may be customs not to do certain actions, but it doesn't have the same strength and power of a prohibition from the sages. So gezerah is a rabbinic prohibition. Yes?
Eating rice on Pesach.
It's not even on the level of a rabbinic prohibition, because it doesn't appear in the Talmud. It was developed in the Talmud. It says clearly you're allowed to eat rice on Pesach. Nobody disagrees with that. Even Ashkenazim like myself, who have never had rice on Pesach in my life. I'm alive now for 56 years. I don't think I've ever had rice on Pesach. I am very well aware that this is not prohibited from the rabbis. It's not a rabbinic prohibition. It is rabbis that eat rice? I do, because I'll explain there are other rabbis who didn't take on the tradition, an Ashkenazi tradition in the 13th and the 14th century. All of a sudden, we find Jewish communities that say we don't eat rice. Nobody knows why. I mean, we have many, many reasons that we think of, and we continue to keep that custom, but it's a custom. And it's only those communities, the Sephardic communities, North African communities, they never had that custom, so they continue to eat rice until today. So eating rice on Pesach is not a gezerah. It's a custom. Very it's hundreds of years now. So those communities, we keep the customs, keep them religiously, but it's not the same thing as a gezerah. Okay? Good example. A negative example of something that's not a gezerah, although it is a practice, very, very strong practice. Number 16, and 17, b'di eved. Lechatchila and b'di eved. These are terms. If you open up your Pnimei Halacha, you can see the precise definition. But you know what? Forget the book. You have it right here on your page. The features. It says number 7. What does lechatchila and b'di eved mean?
Ideal performance.
Ideal performance is lechatchila, and b'di eved is the minimum fulfillment. Good. If we're talking in terms of an instruction, so your goal is to fulfill the mitzvah. For example, tonight we're starting Hanukkah candles. The ideal performance, the lechatchila performance, is to go first night 1 candle, second night 2 candles, third night 3 candles, etc., etc. That's the Mahadran level. That's the best way to do it. You could call that lechatchila. Word techila, beginning. So it's like the first choice, starting position. We should aim for that. But let's say you're a soldier, or you're somewhere in a far out country, you don't have any candles, you don't have enough candles. B'di eved, after the fact, means the situation is not an ideal one. It's not after the fact, because you're going to light candles. So you're before lighting candles. You realize I only have 8 candles for the entire holiday. You light 1 candle on each night, and you fulfill the mitzvah. B'di eved. The truth is, this is a little bit of an exceptional situation, because it's not really one candle a night is not b'di eved. It's actually kosher. It's just on a lower level of kosher. For us now that we're so rich, it's considered, if you have the option of doing an incremental candle every night, so then it's b'di eved to do only 1 candle at night. Why not be mahadran mina mahadran? Why not be the highest level? But if you have no choice, it's not even b'di eved. It's actually for you. That's lechatchila to do 1 candle every night. So, anyways, I'm just trying to show you that there are different levels. Your goal is to do lechatchila. The acceptable situation is when you don't have the conditions, you're not able to. And sometimes we look at it afterwards. Someone will say, let me give you an example. You, on the 8th night of Hanukkah, had only 1 candle left. So you learned here in Machon Meir, you learned Masechet Shabbat in the Talmud. There it says very clearly, Mitzvat Chanukah Ner Ish Ubeito. 1 candle for each man and his household. So you get together, you take out your siddur, and you say bracha, and you say a second bracha, and you light your 1 candle on the 8th night of Hanukkah. And then, knock on the door. In comes your local Chabad rabbi, says, I found you an extra package of candles. Here you go. Here's 8 candles for you. Can you redo it? Can you do it over and say, well, and here's a Chanukiah made out of silver. And wow, and Sufganiyot, of course, he's offering. Yeah. Maybe his gifts for the children, maybe he's wearing a red hat and he looks like Santa Claus. I don't know. He shows up. Now you want to redo it. Because you've got the best way. You can do 8 candles on the 8th night. Can you redo it? Say the brachot once again, and light the 8 candles on the 8th night? You're not allowed to. Why? Because then we'll say you've already fulfilled the mitzvah. B'di'evet, after the fact, when it's already been done, it was kosher. It was done. You can't do a mitzvah twice. This kind of mitzvah, anyways. You can't. You did it. You did it once. Maybe you'll light the candles for fun because it'll be beautiful while you're eating the sufganiyot, and it might be a nice mitzvah to teach the children that there are 8 nights of Hanukkah. Teach the passers-by that there's 8 nights of Hanukkah. But you cannot say another bracha because you have already fulfilled the mitzvah b'di'evet. That's just, the truth is, as I said, by Hanukkah, 1 candle is not really b'di'evet. It's kosher, just on a lower level. It's lechatchila, just on a lower level. So here, by Hanukkah, why is it not a good example? Because we have 3 levels of lechatchila, basically. We have 3 levels of lechatchila, not that the first level of 1 candle is b'di'evet. It's kosher. That's the original mitzvah. Our custom is to always enhance it, and so we consider it b'di'evet. But really, it's actually 3 levels of l'chatchil. B'di'evet is even a lower level. But in this case, I don't have a good example regarding Hanukkah.
But Rav I still can relight the Hanukkah without the bracha.
Without the bracha, yeah. Without the bracha, you can always do it, yeah. Okay, somebody wants to say something else? Question? Let's go on. Numbers 18. Minagim, customs, we already spoke about it. When do we have customs from? 1 through 8, absolutely. Wherever Jewish people practice Judaism, even Moshe Rabbeinu, there is some people understand that that he instituted all sorts of customs. That there were customs of the people of the time. Not everything that Moshe Rabbeinu did turns into a biblical law. So customs we have throughout. Definitely have customs from the prophets, customs from the sages' time, and afterwards, like we just talked about. A good example of a custom would be not eating rice on Pesach. And then, whenever we speak about customs, we have to speak about Eidot. Number 19. Why? Because customs, you could say that after the period of the sages, period 5, 6, and 7, the Jewish people were scattered. No longer were they, in Israel and in Babylon. We're all over the place. And different communities practiced their Judaism and had developed their own unique customs. Eidot means ethnic communities. And they are different customs. Sephardim, or Eidot HaMizrach, Eastern communities, right?
North Africa.
Yeah. Sephard actually means Spain. Sfarad, like modern Hebrew, means Spain. But so the Spain, North Africa, that area, as well as the Eastern communities, somehow their customs seem to blend together. And so that's why they're in number 20. Sometimes they're used interchangeably. Even an Iraqi Jew will say he's Sephardi. Iraq is not Spain, but more precise would be Eidot HaMizrach, the communities of the East. But they put them together because they're very similar in their customs for the most part. Ashkenazim means Ashkenaz actually means German in Old Hebrew, but it refers to all the European communities essentially. Jews from Europe are called Ashkenazim. Good. Number 22. Yemenites. Number 23.
Majority.
Say again. Number 23. Rov is the majority. We said that whenever we have a doubt or there's a debate, we sometimes use generally we use the deciding rule that we follow the majority opinion. Number 24, Safek.
Doubt.
We didn't talk about it too much, but it appears here in your features, number 8. In questions of doubt, so we have a rule of thumb. That if you're talking about, for example, tell me, after the sun sets, is it still the continuation of the previous day, or is it the beginning of the next night? For the first 20 minutes, it's considered to be a period of doubt. Safek Yom, Safek Laila. And therefore, we are, if it comes to a biblical command, we have to be machmir. So, for example, on Friday afternoon, once the sun sets, it might be, it's a doubt, it might be already Friday, it might be already Friday night, it might be Shabbat. And so we don't do any more work. But when it comes to, for example, rabbinic mitzvot, like davening mincha. So you didn't daven mincha and it's already, the sun has set. You're still allowed to daven mincha for another 20 minutes. Because it's a rabbinic mitzvah to daven mincha. And safek the Rabbanan, if we have a doubt about a rabbinic mitzvah, the kula, we could be lenient. It's, there's a lot to discuss about every example, but I'm trying to give you an idea. It's Hanukkah candles too. If it's a doubt, you could be lenient. If it's the oraita, if it's a biblical level obligation, we try to be stringent about it. Machmir. That's number Machmir and Mekel. You see 25 and 26? It's on your page. And number 8, to be stringent, to be lenient. In general, the rabbis you hang out with, do you find them to be Machmir or to be Mekel? How would you define me? Let me ask you this question. Shmuel, would you define me as a Machmir rabbi or a Mekel rabbi? That's a hard question. Okay, so Yosef, what do you think? Am I Machmir or Mekel?
Can't tell. Some
I go with Machmir.
You think I'm with Machmir? Okay, yeah.
So some instances we talk a lot. Like sometimes you're always very lenient, and sometimes very machmir. But I'm leaning towards machmir.
Okay, good. I think that the greatest compliment I could get is when any of you said that you can't tell. Because the goal is not to always be machmir or to always be mekel. The goal is to be a straight shooter and to call it like you see it. Sometimes it's going to come out with a chumrah. Chumrah means a stringency. Sometimes you're going to come out with a kula, which is a leniency. And it's not really a question of policy. It's a question of being honest with your reading of the reality and reading of the halakha and putting them together. Famous Mekel rabbi. In history?
They always question him.
Nice. I don't know. I don't know. So let me think for a second. It's an interesting question. Who's worldwide known as being very lenient?
Maybe it's a movement.
No, don't know.
I mean, it's
No, the ones that are famous, really, it's hard to define them as always lenient or always stringent. I know the Chazon Ish is known as being stringent, right? We talked about that in B'nai Brak, the rabbi B'nai. He's known as being a lenient one, a stringent one, Machmir rabbi. You could say then, it's really hard to say across the board, somebody who's always known as a lenient rabbi. Maybe, I don't know, it's a good question. I mean, there are modern rabbis who are alive today, so I don't want to say their names. Because some people might consider it to be a negative thing, that you're always lenient, right? Like I said, no, the ideal is not to always be lenient. You have to be lenient appropriately for the circumstances. Some people would call me a lenient rabbi. I do give lenient decisions. But I'm very glad to hear that you guys are saying I lean to the machmir. That means I'm like keeping myself honest, right? All right. Anyways, I don't have a good answer to your question, Chanoch. I'm sorry. Okay, which is good. Really, it's not about labels. It's about the activity of decision making, halachic decision making. It depends really on intellectual honesty and knowing the reality that you're faced with. Sometimes reality calls for a lot of chumras. Sometimes reality calls for a lot of kulas. And it's many times a judgment call for educational decisions, for policy decisions for the community. So it's hard to say always, You should always be machmir. In general, there is a tradition that it's good to be lenient when you can, because then when you're machmir, people will listen to you. Right? If you're always machmir, then people are going to think, oh, he's not really being honest. He's just trying to keep the safe ground and always be machmir. So if you are maker when you can, so then when you are machmir, people say, oh, he's usually pretty allowing. And so if in this he says don't, it must mean that there's really a problem here. So anyways, that's a longer discussion. Number 27. What does that mean? Right. When did we start finding perushim, interpretations in our tradition, as like books of perushim?
Second Temple.
True. True. We find that the Targumim, the first translations of the Torah, essentially every translation is also commentary. You could say that's the earliest form of perush that we have. The Midrash is a form of a perush. But it comes really into the fore. When did they get popular? The most popular perushim is after we have our two books of primary literature. What's our two books of primary literature? Tanakh and the Talmud. And then everything afterwards, blossoming of the field of interpretation. Commentaries on the Tanakh, commentaries on the Talmud, and everything afterwards. Okay, writing commentaries. Until today, people are writing commentaries of every book under the sun in our tradition from before us. Pardes. Pardes means an orchard. The word Pardes means an orchard. It's an acronym for Pshat, Raz, Ramesh, and Sod, which mean Pshat means
simple meaning.
The simple meaning. Remez,
Hint.
hinting. Drash, derivations, and Sod, secrets. Very good. Different ways of studying the Torah. Number 29, drasha. Well, we said drash means derivation. So a drasha, exegesis. It's funny. The word drasha in modern terms is used for a public address. In shul on Friday night, sometimes the rabbi will speak. Sometimes on Saturday morning. Before Musaf, in some communities in America, it's more popular. The rabbi gives a drasha. A drasha. Drasha is a public address, a speech. But it comes from the word drash, which is derivations, exegesis, right? Okay. Midrash comes from the same terms. We'll get to that. You see the word midrash in number 59? 59 I have is midrash. Right? That's a book filled with exegesis, with derivations, organized on the Tanakh, essentially. Midrash is on Tanakh. Okay, number 30 is Midot Shatorah Nidrash, the 13 principles of exegesis, of derivations. We have a list, we have a tradition, how to read the Torah, how to derive things from the Torah. The rabbis didn't make this stuff up. Right? What period do we have? Drashot from the Torah up until the time of Chazal, and only up until the times of Chazal. We do no longer derive things from the psukim through the 13 attributes, the 13 methods of exegesis. That is another indication of the tremendous authority that the sages have, the sages of the Talmud. There we're going to find in the Midrashei Halacha, in the Midrashei Agadah, many forms of exegesis, 13 types of deriving, how we derive things from the psukim, and that authority pretty much was lost after the sealing of the period of the sages, after the sealing of the Talmud. Is that clear? Yes? No? Questions? Comments? Complaints? We're good. Let's keep going. Number 31. Samchut. Authority, right? Samchut is authority. We talked about the various levels of authority throughout the periods of history. Who can give me an example of a dividing line between two levels of authority in our Jewish historical tradition. Who can give me one example of a dividing line where the sages in the next period or the next section say we don't have the authority to do that anymore? Do you have any clear dividing lines to share with us?
Closing of the Talmud.
Good. First of all, between the Tanaim and the Moraim, it's in the middle of the period of the sages, and then also at the end of the period of the Amoraim, with the closing of the period of the sages. No longer do the rabbis have the same authority that Chazal did after the Talmud was closed. So right that period, it even gets divided into two, with two levels of authority. Another level of authority that you might want to talk about is the division between biblical and rabbinic. Right, going all the way back to period 1. Right, there's a difference between things which are part of the Torah from the tradition as written down in the Chumash and interpreted by the sages, to a rabbinic addition to the Torah. Like we said before, Muktzah and Techumin and all those kind of things, and Netilat Yadayim and Kiddush on Shabbos, all those are rabbinic additions. They don't have the authority to contradict the Torah, but the different levels of authority which has an application, as we said before, about Safek, right? If there's a doubt about a rabbinic obligation, you can be lenient. If there's a doubt about a biblical obligation, you should be stringent. Samchut is a very interesting feature. Another dividing line, one more before we move on. When do we have a change in the authority of the rabbinic teachings, the rabbinic authorities, the rabbinic rabbis?
The Rishonim, Achronim?
Excellent. Between the Rishonim and the Acharonim, there is a dividing line, which is a very strong one. Usually we don't, in this latter period, 7 and 8, that we're in now, we usually don't go head to head against any of the Rishonim. Anybody in the Achronim we can fight with. I can take on the Chatam Sofer. I can take on Rabbi Akiva Eiger if I have a cogent argument from the sources and I prove my point. It would not be considered to be disrespectful to come along and say, I think we should practice differently than this or that rabbi who is part of the Acharonim. But if you say that against Rashi or Rambam, you don't have that authority. You have to find maybe another Rishon there, and there were many commentaries in 500 years of medieval commentary. You can find many, many different sources for your opinion, and then you can say, I think we should follow the other Rishon. But an Achron usually doesn't go head-to-head against an Achron. There are exceptional cases. There are exceptional rabbis who feel that their learning is so true and so authoritative that they're willing to go against Rishonim. But it's rare. It's rare. And the general rule is there's a dividing line between Rishonim and Achronim. Very good level of authority. That's what we were looking at, number 31. Number 32, Smicha.
Is this word related to Simcha?
No, it's not. It's spelled different, totally different letters and different order. So Smicha comes from the word Samchut. 32 and 31 are related. You see that? Samchut means authority. So Smicha is when you're given the authority. You're given, like I was ordained as a rabbi. It's called, I got Smicha. Rabbinic ordination is called Smicha because you have a certain level of authority. You know what I can do? I can decide whether the spoon is kosher or for milk or for meat. I'm allowed to make all sorts of decisions for others because I completed my training as a rabbi. I don't think it gets me too much in the bank account, but it is nice to have a little bit of support behind my back, that I'm not just any Joe Schmo on the street. I do have a diploma for all it's worth. You know what diplomas are worth, right? Sometimes it's just kindling for the fire. But whatever it is, Smicha nowadays is also could just be, I could put, when the table's shaky, you could put it underneath and hold it up. That sometimes that's all it's worth. But in the day, there was another form of smicha. In the time of the sages, there was a form of a smicha which was more official, and it gave you authority to be a dayan. There was actually courts of law which you were only allowed to be a judge if you had this official, like that type of smicha. The tradition is that it was passed down throughout every generation, from Moshe to Yeshua to the Zakanim to the New. No, you weren't born into it, but you had to be ordained by somebody who had smicha. Now anybody can ordain anybody. It's kind of like an open market. It's really that's why it's cheapened. The term of smicha is cheapened nowadays. A modern day rabbinic smicha. It depends who gave it. Depends whether you studied. It's sort of like Giur, right? You can get a conversion. It's not worth the paper it's written on because some Joe Schmo said, "Okay, you're Jewish." It doesn't mean that we don't really have standards nowadays. There's no centralized authority to rein everything in. So smicha is meaningless, almost meaningless today. I'm being extreme here, okay? Like conversion, I'm being extreme. Yeah, usually you do something to get a smicha. You do something to get a conversion, but there's no real standards. In the day of the sages, smicha was real. You had to be ordained officially by somebody who has this chain of ordination himself. And this broke down at the end of the sages' era, and we don't have it anymore. We don't have that level of smicha. Some people want to reinstate it. But there is a method for reinstating official smicha. There's only one technical problem. To do that, you have to get everybody in agreement. Can you imagine getting all the rabbis to agree to anything?
No majority?
No. You have to have everybody together. Yeah, you have to have everybody together. Anyways, it's a longer discussion. But it comes from the word samchut, authority.
The last dayan was like the Spanish Inquisition in Spain. Like they had dayans during the... Or no?
They didn't have that. They didn't have the official ordination past the period of the sages. One of the last ones who had this semicha was Hillel Nasiya. Famously, he finalized the Jewish calendar.
What year was this?
About year 700 for us. He set the calendar, and we're still using it almost 1,500 years later. It's unbelievable. He did such a great job. Hillel, he was known as Nasiya. He was a prince. He was the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, we talked about many times. This ordination was in the Davidic line also. It was connected to the Davidic line. It didn't have to be, but anyways. Enough said. Let's move on because I want to really play a game with you. And I still have something else to teach you before we can play the game. Leadership. Number 33. Everybody have their page? Number 33? The Avot are? What period? 1. Zakanim. The Zakanim, you have it on your chart. The elders. What period? Period 1. I mean, I'm old now, but I'm not called the Zaken. It's a technical term for that was mentioned in the Torah, that God told Moshe to gather together the elders.
So you have to be like over 70 or something.
No, you just had to be chosen as an elder. There was a historical sort of period in history, and we had it. I showed it to you in Pirkei Avot, that was trying to connect the period of the sages all the way back. So we had Moshe, Kibel Torah Messiah, and then Yoshua, Yoshua the Zakanim. The Zakanim who did the Zakanim transfer it to? Who remembers? You can look on your charts. It was actually Nevi'im. That's what it said in Pirkei Avot. They skipped over the political leadership. This Mishnah was not interested in political leadership. Number 35. We have a book in the Tanakh called Shoftim, the judges. Good example of one of the Shoftim. I think there were, how many? 19? How many Shoftim are there in the book of Shoftim? Does anybody read the book? How many are there? Devorah is another one. She was a Shofetet. A woman Shofetet. Shmuel was one of the last, I think, the last of the Shoftim. Good. You should know whether you're number 19 or you should know Shmuel. You should list. I have a list here somewhere, but I don't want to. I do have a list. Hang on, right here. So Shoftim are judges. Who are? What's next on the list? Melachim. What's a melech? 15 judges actually. Here I have a list. If anybody wants, you can photocopy a list of the 15 judges. You guys like charts, right? I only have one copy. Someone wants to jump out and photocopy this for me? Shmuel, maybe you, because you'll know you're number 15 for now. Stephen, you'll do it? Rabbi Listman's office should be open. How many we are? 10? 10 of us. Yeah, 10. It's good to have 10. In case somebody wants to take one for their wife, for their friends. So there's 15 Shoftim. Then what's the next item on the list? Wait, what period is Shoftim? It's also number 1. And then Melachim is period number 2. Right? Kings. And Nevi'im also. We associate it with period number 2. Kohanim actually they were both in the second and the third temple. Of course they were Kohanim, but they took a leadership role more in the second temple. And that's why I put it in the third period. Sofrim means scribes. And the scribes were the intellectuals. They were the preservers of the scrolls, the tradition.
Ezra and Nehemiah.
Correct. Ezra is known as a sofer. So it's period 3, right?
How many people write the Torah today?
Right. We use the same term today, but it's for more of a technical profession. A scribe who writes a Sefer Torah, Tefillin, Mezuzot. How many are there? There's a glut. In some countries. In other countries, there's a dearth. Many, many people don't want to get their hands dirty by becoming a mechanic or a school teacher, and they figure, I'll sit in my library and I'll write a Torah scroll. And that's an easy way of making a livelihood. It's holy. It's not so easy to make a livelihood because there's so many people who have that same idea. But if you live in a European country, you live in America, thank you. You live in America, there's much less. And so you might be able to make a good living doing that profession. Okay, so you see the 15 judges. Samuel is the last one. Shimshon is number 13. You can see the tribal origin, the approximate years of rule. Excellent, thank you. We got one? 15 judges. You see the title? It actually has a funny title. It calls these judges the elders who transmitted their tradition. You see, it's not only about being a political leader. Our tradition says that they were involved in giving over the Torah as well. You can see in the note, a consistent system of chronology covering the period from the Exodus and Conquest until the First Kings has engaged the study of scholars for many years. It has never been successfully formulated. Estimates of the actual period of the judges have been variously fixed at approximately 400 years. You can see some further scholarship in those references. More recently, some people approximated at 200 years. All these dates, as conceded by scholars, are conjectural, irreconcilable, and abounding in discrepancies in both the AM and BCE calculations. The confusion is attributed to the number of certainties, e.g., For example, the overlapping years of judges who ruled simultaneously. That'll mess things up. It's not one after the other. Periods that were without a judge at all. The reckoning of successive periods as synchronical years, right, together, and variations in chronological calculations using the instance, for instance, roundness in numbers. Look at judge number 1, number 2, number 4, number 5. They all have a round number, 40 or 80. 40 is a significant number in Judaism, is it not? What do we have else that's 40 years? Or 40 days? Moshe went up to Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights. What else was 40 in the Torah?
Noah with the flood.
Noah was in the ark for 40 days and 40 nights. The flood was for 40 days and 40 nights. That's right. And then the Jews. What else?
40 years in the desert.
40 years in the desert, because the spies went for 40. So it could be that 40 here is a symbolic number, representing a complete reign or a complete period. So that's why we don't really know the precise number.
Judah, the fourth son from Leah.
This could be significant. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Anyways, this helps you. Don't pay much attention to the dates, but it does give you a nice little summary of what each one did and what's recorded in the book of Judges. Okay, enough said? Oh, the ink was, sorry, that you can't really see the titles, but all right, good enough. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to our chart of the glossary, and we're up to Sofri, number 40, Anshe Knesset Gdolah. You all know that, right? Men of the Great Assembly. They're the leadership during which period? Period 3. Period 3. Only. Zugot, the pairs of leadership at the end of the period 3. Number 42, Chazal, we've talked about it a lot. Tanaim and Amoraim. Tanaim, sages of the Mishnah. Amoraim, sages of the Gemara. Period, what period? 4. 4a and 4b, you can say, right? 4a would be Tanaim up till the middle, till 200, and then after that, 4b. Savoraim, they were the editors of the Talmud. It appears in the same period called the Gaonic period, which is the next 500 years, from 500 to 1,000. Is that clear? Period 5. You got that? Everybody got that? Let's move on. Rishonim, the next period. Achronim, the next period. Gaonim is, that was the title of the rabbinic leadership in Babylon during the years 500 to 1,000. Is a title. And so the entire period gets that title. This is the Gaonic period.
Purely Iraq.
Syria, Iraq, yeah. Yeah, but from there they sent their teachings to all over the world. That was the center of authority when it came to interpreting the Talmud and spreading the Talmud.
There's a lot of serious schools there.
Yeah. Schools, serious schools, and political power, and they interpreted the Talmud for the entire Jewish people, whoever asked them questions. Okay, number 40. What are we up to? 49. What's 49? What does that mean? What does that mean? Someone who makes a halachic decision, decisor. So what period do we have? Poskim. Now, of course. And always, right? You always need I think in the Torah, doesn't the Jewish people come to Moshe and ask him, we found this guy, what was he doing? Chopping wood or something like that. What do we do with them? So and Moshe says, I don't know. Good question. I'll go ask God. Wouldn't that be nice to have a direct line? And God says to them, okay, here's the halachic decision, psika, the psak. All comes from the word poskim. You see that? Psak, with a kuf at the end. With a kuf, not Pesach. That's with a chet at the end. Psak with a kuf. Psika, poskim. Those are halachic decision makers. And maybe you need to have semicha. What's that? Ordination. To give a psak, right? Good. Number 50. We spoke about it already a little bit about Perush in number 27, right? So 27 is the result of the people who do write commentaries are called alternatively Mefarshim or Parshanim. Who do we usually call Mefarshim? What do they give commentary on? The Talmud. What do we usually call Parshanim? People who write commentary on the Tanakh. Parshanim on Tanakh, Mefarshim on Talmud. No, Parshanim on Tanakh. But they all write Perushim, commentaries. Number 51, Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim. Period 1, 2, and 3, right? All together. Number 54, Chumash. The 5 books. Number one. Chumash number 1, right? Talmud. Period. Talmud, period 4, right? Period of Chazal, the Talmud. There's 2 types of Talmud, right? 2 Talmuds. Talmud from Israel and Talmud from Babylon. Number 56, the Mishnah.
4A.
It's a book of Jewish traditions from period 4A. Excellent. The innovation of this book of the Mishnah was that the Torah got divided into not 5 books or 24 books of the Tanakh, but 6 categories. Seder is a category. Literally, it means an order. An order means a category. It's a part of the book of the Mishnah. 6 Sidarim. You know how to say that in Hebrew? Shisha Sidarim. The acronym is Shas. Shas. You have to be a Torah scholar if you read all of the Tanakh and you read all of the Shas. Right? It's another way for saying the Talmud. Shishas Darim. Shas. Okay, next. Gemara. Period. 4b. It's the recording of the discussions of the Amoraim around and about the Mishnah. Number 59, Midrash. Period.
It's the end of period 3 also.
You could say it started at the end of period 3, but primarily it's period 4, the period of the sages. To tell you the truth, I'm not happy with some modern phenomena. Every once in a while I give some social critique. You notice that? I allow myself. I have smicha. No, I have an opinion. My opinion is that the word midrash has been misused and abused. And today you'll find even good people, they mean well, is let's get together and we'll have a workshop. We'll study some Torah together, and then everybody will write their own midrash. Yeah. It's like free writing, free creative writing based on our study. It's a beautiful exercise. My only problem is don't call it midrash. It's like I'm going to write my own Talmud. You can't do that. The Midrash and the Talmud are books that were written by the sages. The sages is the golden era of Judaism. They have authority that we don't have. We can't even come close to. How can you say I'm writing my own midrash? What they mean to say, I'm writing a commentary inspired by the study. The midrash, though, what gives it its great value and worth is that it's the books that we have from the sages, from Chazal. It's not Arma. I can write 1,000 stories, but it doesn't reach the level of midrash. It's a little pet peeve of mine, but you'll forgive me, right? Okay, next. 60. Who can tell me what that means?
Shoot.
What does that mean? Right, there's a technical term in English that people don't know the word in English. Responsa literature. Obviously, the questions and answers that were responded to questions, answers that were given in response to questions. It's a form of literature. Where do we find this form of literature? I mean, it's also an action. People ask a question, they get an answer. A halachic, a Jewish question, and a Jewish answer. So from when do we have questions and answers in Judaism? Gemara, yes and no. Yes. We definitely find that the sages, that people came and asked the rabbis in the Beit Midrash, what do we do in this case or that case? So yeah, sure, there was responsa. It was never written down as a separate book, though. It's part of the Talmud are questions and answers. When else do we have questions and answers from?
5, 6, 7. And 8.
5, 6, and 7, and 8 for sure. Right, ever since the Talmud, right, we're trying to answer questions based on the Talmud, right? The Gaonim started us off with that type of literature. That's the type of books they wrote primarily. The other books of Perushim and Psak Halacha primarily came in the period of the Rishonim. But to tell you the truth, didn't I just say before, the people came to Moshe and asked him what to do? It's the earliest form of She'elot Utshuvot. And people came to the prophets and asked them what to do. People came to the Zakenim, the elders, and they asked them. So shoot, as a phenomenon, questions and answers about Judaism, is from time immemorial. Usually, though, we refer to the literature as a standalone collection of books, primarily the last 1,500 years. Ever since the Talmud was closed, we have books of questions and answers being recorded based on the Talmud. So, Shut primarily is in the last 3 periods, but of course the concept of asking halachic questions and getting decisions told to them, or even it doesn't even have to be halachic. Sometimes you can have a philosophical question. You can have philosophical shoot. Nowadays, shoot on WhatsApp, the latest. Telegram. People do that every day. Do you have a rabbi that you ask your shoot? Does you have a rabbi you shoot at?
Mm.
I should wear a bulletproof vest. People are shooting at me.
Shoot me an email.
Shoot me an email. That's it. Yeah. All right. Number 61, Sifrei Psak. We all mentioned poskim, give psak. So books of psak are books of halacha, books of halachic decisions. For example, the Mishnah Torah written by Rambam. What period? Period of the Rishonim, number 6. And the Turim. What is the Turim? No, the Turim. It's not the Shulchan Aruch. The 4 columns. That's the name of the book. It's a predecessor of the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch is based on the 4 columns. It's a book. Yeah, 4 columns. One guy, Rabbi Yaakov. Rabbi Yaakov wrote the book called it the 4 columns.
Rabbi Yaakov what?
They didn't use family names so much. His father's name was Asher. Yaakov ben Asher. He's known as the author of the columns, Baal HaTurim. Baal HaTurim. That's his nickname, Rabbi Yaakov. And that's really, when they started publishing books in with the printing press, late 1500s.
That was the computer of the time.
Yeah, printing press changed. One of the first books everybody asked to be printed was the 4 columns. That was the halachic. No, it was in Spain. It was a how-to. It was a how to do Judaism. It was a what are the laws book. It was a Sefer Psak. Everybody needs those. And then their commentary written on it by the Beit Yosef. The name of the commentary was Beit Yosef, the house of Yosef. I guess he built it on those 4 columns, and then the Shulchan Aruch was a short form that he himself wrote of his Beit Yosef house commentary on the Torah. Called it Shulchan Aruch. And then we would have talked about other Perushim on that afterwards. Perushim or commentaries. We saw it in 64. Do we not have that twice? Perushim? We do, because 27 is Perush. 64 is Perushim. It's just plural. So that's a mistake. I need to fix that. Correct. It's on the border between 6 and 7. Correct.
And the Torah were 4 chapters, right?
4 topics.
What were the 4 topics?
4 categories.
What were they?
They have names in Hebrew. I don't think we should get into them right now, but there's like one daily laws, one about family law, one about civil law, and one about ritual law. Okay? The names, I gave them to you the other day, but I don't. What I'd like to do now is play a game. But before we play a game, I want to help you be good at the game. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to once again review with you the books of the Tanakh. Pass these around. And here's another one. And here's another one. Should be enough for everybody. You see these books? How many chapters are there in the entire Tanakh? Anybody else need? Who can see how many chapters are there in the Tanakh? Here, you need one? Do you ever got now? 929. Have you seen the project called 929? There's a modern day. They started about 3 years ago, maybe 6 years ago already. It's called 929. The project is, let's all of us study 1 chapter of Tanakh a day. You finish every 3 years or so. It's a nice project. 929. Okay, but that's, you can see the number of chapters and the number of words even. Even the number of letters. Oh my gosh. Now we have a tradition that how many letters are there in the Chumash, in the Sefer Torah? The tradition is that there's 600,000, like the number of the Jews. But it doesn't really work, because if we count our Torah, it comes out to 300. So maybe they're counting the spaces in between the letters. I don't know. Here's another page. You can peruse that at home. The names of the books. Here I want to clarify one more term for you. I'm passing around another chart. It appears behind Shmuel and behind Amram on the wall in big. I had it covered with plastic so that it stays with us. Anybody else need one of these? This is the same list, but it's divided a little bit more pretty. And you even get a little bit of a summaries of who the author is. Thank you. Everybody see that? I want you to pay attention to the top right and the top left of this page. You see there's 4 definitions for the word Torah. That's what makes it confusing sometimes. Chanoch, I think you were getting confused by this. But we speak about the Tanakh, so we say the Tanakh is an acronym of Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. In that context, the Torah means only the Chumash. But sometimes we say the Torah, we mean the entire Tanakh. So let's go from the top left and look at the different definitions. The first one says, read it, Stephen. Pentateuch, prophets. Hagiographa, right? But that's the words we use for Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. Okay, so sometimes Torah means the Tanakh, the written Torah, right? We say the written Torah, it means the whole Tanakh. But sometimes Torah, we say, refers to, read the next one.
Commandment, mitzvot, testimony, statutes, laws, teaching, and worship.
Wow, so many different meanings for the same word. So you've got to keep Torah. Chanoch, right, they're going to ask you if you're a convert, are you Torah observant? What do you mean? This is what they mean. You're keeping the commandments, the statutes, the teachings, the worship. Go to the right-hand side now. Yosef, read the top one.
Torah 613 commandments, 242 positive, 365 negative.
Right. Sometimes we talk about the Torah, we mean the commandments. And the final one, Yosef?
Torah, reading of the law, study of the Mishnah, Talmudic Gemara analysis.
Oh, what did we say? This morning we sang a beautiful song. So let's pray now because we're about to study Torah. We haven't opened up a Chumash. Were we studying Torah? We haven't opened up a Navi. We haven't opened up Ketuvim. We haven't opened up Gemara. How can we say we're studying Torah? There's another meaning for the word. Torah sometimes is used as a catch-all phrase for study of everything in this chart, everything in this tradition. All of it is called Torah. We gather together to study Torah. It includes everything on the chart, both the written Torah, the oral Torah, the Gaonim, the Rishonim, the Poskim, all that. So everything we have there is called Torah. One more thing. So now I want to give you one more page. And now, please sing with me the following song, which will enable you to memorize the 24 books of the Tanakh according to the Jewish tradition. They're divided into 24. I think we might have to play this game on Sunday, on Hanukkah. We're gonna not have time for it all. But we're getting there. We're getting closer. Soon we're good. Tonight is Hanukkah, guys. You ready? Got your candles? What do you have, oil or wax? Oil? Wax. Okay. Huh?
I have the candelabra, but I don't have any oil yet.
Oh, okay. You have the Chanukiah, but not the... Okay. You have time. What oils are kosher? It's a whole other discussion. All right. I'm going to teach you a song. And then, from then on, you're going to sing it back to me every day until the end of Hanukkah. Okay? You ready? Heard the tune before? La 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 la. Ta la 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 la. Ta la 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 la. Ta la 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 da 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 dum da dum da da. Got the tune? Now we're going to do it with the words. Ready? Bereshit Shemot Vayikra Bamidbar Vayikra Bamidbar Devarim Yehoshua Shoftim Shemuel Melachim Yeshayahu Yirmiyahu Yechezkel Hoshea Yoel Amos Obadiah Yonah Micha Nachum Chavakuk Tzfania Chagai Zecharia Malachi Tehillim Mishlei Iyov Shir HaShirim Ruth Eicha Kohelet Esther Daniel Ezra Nehemia Divrei Hayamim La 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 la. Could you ask for 8 copies of this? 9 copies? La 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 la. Once again from the top. Ready? Bereshit Shemot Vayikra Bamidbar Devarim Yehoshua Shoftim Shemuel Melachim Yeshayahu Yirmiyahu Yechezkel Hoshea Yoel Amos Yonah Micha Nahum Chavakuk Tzvania Chagai Zecharia Malachi Tehillim Mishlei Iov Shir HaShirim Ruth Eicha Kohelet Esther Daniel Ezra HaNechemia Divrei Hayamim. Okay, so now you know all of Tanakh. I taught you all of Tanakh. The Torah, otherwise known as the Torah, in some contexts, right? It's not all of the Torah because I have to teach you all of the Shas too. Right? It's part of the Torah. The oral Torah is part of it. This is sometimes called the written Torah. 24 books of Tanakh. You got it? One more time? One more time?
3 times the charm.
3 times the charm. Let's go. Bereshit Shemot Vayikra Bamidbar Devarim Yehoshua Shoftim Shemuel Melachim Yeshayahu Yirmiyahu Yechezkel Hoshea Yoel Amos Obadiah Yonah Micha Nahum Chavakuk Tzvania Chagai Zecharia Malachi Tehillim Mishlei Iov Shir HaShirim Ruth Eicha Kohelet Esther Daniel Ezra HaNechemia Divrei Hayamim. Amazing. So, thank you so much. Give this out to everybody. Everybody take a page. Or you didn't enlarge it in the end, or you did enlarge it? No. Some of them got enlarged. It's confusing. This is a chart of the generations. What comes first? What's at the top of the mountain? What's at the top of the mountain? On top of that, the Luchot HaBrit. It must be a Mount Sinai. Isn't that cool? In the form of a book. That's funny. Was it tablets or was it a book? Thank you. Anyways, you see at the top, the first thing we have is the Chumash from the first generation, the prophets, the earlier prophets, and the later prophets. Here they divide them into 2 categories. Yeshua Shoftim Shmuel Malachim are considered earlier prophets. Nevi'im Achronim are considered the others. And then Ktuvim is another row. Tehillim, Mishlei Iov, Ezra, Menachem, Daniel, and Divrei Yamim. Don't have every book of the Tanakh here, because Treasar, what does Treasar mean? Treasar means 12. 12, it's the 12.
Sorry, I still see the list.
Okay, so in this, they're not really chronologically one in before the other, because Tehillim was from the period of the King David, is he not? Some of them, anyways. Mishlei is attributed to Solomon, so maybe that comes from the period number 2. But in this game, this is part of our game, by the way. This is part of our game. It's considered to be the next stage. So the game involves knowing your stages. The last, final part of the Tanakh is in a stage called Megillot. 5 Megillot. You know the names? Shir HaShirim, Ruth, Eicha, Kohelet, Esther, Daniel, Esther. The 5, Eicha, Shir HaShirim, Esther, Kohelet, and Ruth. Okay, and then the next stage, it's a big jump. What do we have? A whole new system. The Shas, Shisha Sedarim. Here you have their names. Goes from right to left. Zeraim, Moed, Nashim, Zikin, Kodeshim, Torah. You can write down next to it if you like the acronym. Zman Nakat. It's just the first letter of each one of those words. Zman means time. Nakat means take. Take time out to learn your Shas. Zman Nakat, the 6 orders of the Shas. Zman Nakat. You see that? Zeraim Moed, Nashim is Zman. Nezikin, Kodashim, and Tarot is Nakat. There's 2 nuns, it's a little confusing. Nashim, women always come first, right? Nakat is an Aramaic word that means to take. But it's just the acronym here for the last 3 of the Shas. Then we have Talmud, which is another stage. We talked about 4a and 4b, right? Talmud coming from the Amoraim in the end of the period of the sages. And then you have another stage of books of halacha. There's a few examples brought here. All of them we discussed, did we not? Mishnah Torah, what period did that come from? When did the Rambam live? 1200, right? So the period number 5. Sorry, period number 6. This period of the Rishonim is period 6. 5 is Gaonim.
Rashi is Gaonim?
No, Rishonim. Period 6. 6, Rashi and Rambam. They're both in the Middle Ages, they're called, medieval times. Year 1000 to 1500. Mishnah Torah, the Arba'at Turim. Who wrote that? Chanoch.
Musar?
Who wrote the 4 columns, the Arba'at Turim?
You said Rabbi Yaakov.
Ben Yaakov ben Asher. Yeah, you wrote it down. I just told you just before. Sorry. The Baal HaTurim, good answer. Good. The Baal HaTurim wrote the Arba HaTurim. And then another book of halacha based on the same chapters and the same division into 4 categories is called the Shulchan Aruch. Written by who? Eov, Rabbi Yosef Karo. Good. And finally, they have another type of literature here. I don't know why they put them at the end. It's not necessarily chronologically later, but because Sharei Tshuva was written by Rabbeinu Yonah, who was a Rishon. He's in period 6. Mesilat Yesharim was written in period 7, but Orchot Tzadikim, we don't know who wrote it actually till today. It's a mystery, but it's probably Achronim. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So But anyways, it is a different category of Jewish books. What's Musar? You see there at the bottom, they translate it as Jewish thought, but more precise would be ethics. But it could have written Hashkafa or Emunah or something like that. Anyways, for this game, you've got to know your periods. Let's try. We have 10 minutes. Can we do it? Everybody take, we're going to give out the cards. They're pretty mixed up. There's a joker. The joker always wins. The joker looks like this. Everybody look up. Mount Sinai. Okay. That always wins. That's the wild card. If you get that one, you're lucky. I'm going to put it in the middle. So how many are we? 8? How many cards are there here? It doesn't say. Let's say everybody take 4 cards. And then pass it on to the next guy. And basically what we're going to do now is play war. Do you know how to play war? You don't know how to play war when you have a deck of cards?
I played as a child.
Of course. Basically, this game of war is we're all going to compete against each other. We're all going to reveal one card, our top card. You don't look at them. You put them down, you don't look at them. I mean, now you can, but you can't really choose. The top card, you reveal it, and then it's a war between all of us, all 9 of us. Who wins the round? Whoever is closest to the top of the chart. The one closest to Mount Sinai wins the round. And he gets all the cards from all of us. Do you understand the game? Then we move to the next round. Okay, very quickly, people were going to be out of cards.
When there's a tie.
When there's a tie, then we have those people who are tied, they have another war between them. Okay? All right. Everybody ready? I'll just take extra ones. So whoever needs, there's extras here. Ready? Reveal the top card. I have Mishnayot Moed. What do you got? What do you got? Anybody have closer to Sinai than me? What do you have? Bamidbar. You have Shmot. Wait, that's a tie. Shmot and Bamidbar is a tie, right? What do you have? Shira Shirim. Eov. You got Eov? That's surprising. But wait, what comes first? Bamidbar and Shmot or Eov? Right. Eov. What do you got, Chanoch? Ruth. And what do you have, Amram? Shulchan Aruch. That's later, right? On our chart. And what do you have, Yisrael? The top card. What is Divrei Yamim. Chronicles. And what do you have? Tehillim. So far, who's winning? These 2 guys. No, Yosef and okay, so now you guys have to have a war. So put down your cards. Both of you reveal your next card. What do you have?
Gates of Repentance.
Gates of Repentance, which is at the end. And what do you have? Oh, it's another war. See, reveal a third card.
You're going to lose in this one.
Oh, he got the Har Sinai. Everybody give your revealed cards to Yosef. I think Yosef might be winning this round. Ready? Everybody ready with their next card? Okay, Yosef, you're rich. Ready for the next round? Reveal one card, the top card. I got Treyasar. What do you got? Judges. Mishlei. You're tied with me, I think. No? Yeshayahu, you're ahead of me. What? Nashim, that's Mishnah. That's a lower level, right? What do you got, Ida? Ooh, it's pretty close to the top. What do you got, Amram? You guys are tied. And Shmuel, what do you got? That's all the way at the bottom, right? And Israel? Yoshua. That's level 2. So basically we got a tie between Amram and Idan. So both of you reveal one more card. What you got? Yirmiyah, what do you got? Mishnah Torah. Who wins? Amram. Right? Everybody give your cards, the revealed cards to Amram.
I don't have any card now.
You have lots of cards. The ones you won. The ones you won. You have. You don't have cards?
Yes.
Take some cards. Okay, everybody reveal your top card. I have Mishnayot Kodashim.
Eov. Yes.
You have Eov. What do you have?
Yeskel.
Yechezkel. Your son's name. What do you have? Esther. Kings. Talmud Bavli. Taharos. Well, that's above Amram, but Yisrael, what do you got? Nizikin. That's close to Chanoch. Mishnah, what do you got? Kohelet. Wait, so who's got the highest? What do you have? Kings. Kings is the highest. Everybody give your card to Eov.
Yeah, Kohanet is from Shomron.
It is. But on this chart, it's on a lower level. On this chart, it's part of the Megillot. Everybody ready? You got the cards? Everybody have cards?
Nope.
You have no cards, so give them a card. Okay. Okay, everybody ready? Ready, set, go. Reveal. I have Daniel. Shmod. Uh-oh, what do you got? Eicha. What do you have? Har Sinai. All right, everybody give your cards to it doesn't matter what we have. Okay. I'm out. One more round. Who has cards? Nobody's cards? Who has cards?
These guys.
All right, so whoever has a card, reveal. Whoever has a card, reveal. Shmuel, what do you got?
Gates of repentance.
Gates of Repentance, what do you got? Again? Ezra and Nehemiah. So you're on the. What do you have? Shmuel's ahead of you. Shmuel's a Nevi'im Rishonim, right? What do you have? Yechezkel is Nevi'im Achronim. So you win. Everybody give the cards to Stephen here. All right, who has cards? Reveal. Whoever has, reveal. Okay, you got. I guess there was two jokers. You both have jokers. Yeah, everybody give your cards to Eov. Excellent, but he got Har Sinai. Two jokers. Okay. Anybody else have cards?
These guys. It's 4, I think.
Okay, reveal.
Yes.
Chazka, Moed. Eov again? What do you got? Which one? Trey Asar. That means the 12. So which is a higher level? Trey Asar is the highest. It's above Eov, according to this, right? Because it got Nevi'im before Ketuvim. Trey Asar is here, Nevi'im's here. All right, so give him to Amram. Next, reveal. Shmuel. Divrei, you're ahead. Yeah? Kings, that's a tie with Shmuel. What do you got? You win. Right? Vayikra has the top level. Next, the reveal. What do you got, Amram? Mishneh Torah. Who wins? Tehillim. Okay, give him to Eov. To Yosef. Yafeh. All right. We're going to call it a draw here. I think, Yosef won. I think, or how many cards do you have? You two count. Who has the most? Who has the most count? Count all your cards. 14. What do you have? Oh, maybe Amram's winning. He's got stashes. 13. And what do you have? The winner is Yosef! Well done. All right. We'll see you, B'ezrat Hashem, on Sunday. Chanukah Sameach and Shabbat Shalom. All the cards in here already? Yeah? Collected all the cards? Nice game, huh? It doesn't precisely work by my periods, the way I divide it, which is a shame. You bet. Oh, of course. Yeah. Sufganiyot.
One color or you got mixture?
I don't know. We'll see. You can show me the letter again once you edit it if you want, okay?